O positive, their blood thickens. And because they weren't really concerned or really trying to protect themselves because they felt like they weren't the number one target with cucarachas, a lot of them unfortunately transitioned even before the shots. And it's really quite sad. So I'm here as a representation of O positive, and I will share information about the bloodlines that I feel like right now there's bloodline wars. And I've also talked about the fact that when a woman is pregnant and she's an O negative and she gives birth, she has a baby in her tummy that's positive Rus, she will kill that baby in her womb. And she has to take a shot. Usually, now there are always exceptions to the rules, but generally, that baby won't survive in an O negative's womb because her blood will kill the baby. Now, what's interesting about that is that they tell you that O negative is the universal blood type that everybody can take. So if that was true, why, if it's a universal blood type that you can give to every blood type, including positive, why then when a negative Rus is carrying a positive Rus, it kills it? So now you have to think that the blood banks that are carrying the majority O negative, and all these O positives, B positives, A positives are getting blood sometimes after surgery if they need it. They're taking in negative blood that isn't meant for them, that is actually going to hurt them long term. That's what I'm talking about. It's a bloodline war, y'all. And why is it that we can't ever request anymore? Back in the days, and I know this for a fact, it doesn't happen anymore. Back in the days, there used to be an allotment, like if you were in a hospital and let's say your sister's sick, right? And you both share the same blood type. If she needed blood, let's say she had surgery, she lost a lot of blood, maybe she's hemorrhaging. There used to be a time that you would be allowed to give your blood, go down to the laboratory, they do a quick test just to make sure it was clean, and they would be able to pull your blood on site and then give your sister the blood immediately. How come they're not doing that anymore? Jesus is king. Okay, I'm going to have to remove you. You're suffering from some sort of psychosis, and I really have to put you out of here. Okay, you're not being appropriate. I don't want to have to do it, but you coming in here talking about Jesus is so inappropriate. It's like you're under some sort of mind control, and you can't even hold a conversation, even if you believe that. Like we're having a conversation about blood types. Why would Jesus even come into this? Do you understand? Do you see the mind control, y'all? And we don't even know if that being is real. It's probably an NPC. It could be an NPC bot that they send in here to cause a distraction because they know that gaslights me. They know what gaslights you. So they come into the feed and they're like, oh, Fleur is probably going to react to this. Yeah, motherfreaker, I will. Okay, so we talk about bloodlines, and I want to tell you that I blocked them, Charlotte. Thank you. I just want to talk about the fact that we have a bloodline war. And I'm talking to my positive Ruses right now. Now, negative Ruses, do not get gaslit because this is not to negate you. But you do know, negative Rus, especially O negatives, that the majority of your leaders, they aren't my leader. The leader on your planet, artificial Earth, are all O negative. The majority of your presidential leaders, your congressional leaders are all negative Rus, and the majority are O negative. So please don't get gaslit. We're not talking about regular O negatives that are living as normal people. They're not getting the perks, but also know that O negative, you are connected to the hive, because O negatives, they have a hive. All negative Ruses, but mostly O negatives, they are connected to the hive. So you have access to all the information that all the O negatives have. I'm sure they have a lock away perimeter that they're trying to keep most of the other regular O negatives that are just regular people out, but you have access to that. So I don't want to, just know that me talking about my blood type and the weaponizing against us, this is just something I have to speak about, because a lot of O negatives, a lot of O positives don't realize that they're being attacked. Okay? So let's get into blood types. And we'll talk about A's and B's and all the other blood types as well. My butt hurts. Sorry, Paul. Maybe I do need a BBL. I'm joking, y'all. I'm joking. I have this like this. I'm trying to do this. Yeah, your GoPro. I don't really use stuff. You know, I'm like ghetto. I'm like ghetto fabulous. This girl was like, "You're not really ghetto." Okay. Neither are you. Okay, that's a concept. Yeah, that's a term. All right. So, how can you O negative escape from the hive? We'll kind of talk about that too. You really have to do something different because they can access all your information easier. That's why when I do private things like that, I don't really want O negatives in the group because they're hives. The others, the dark Kabbalists, they can access all your thoughts and your database easier. It's wherever you come from. I don't know what planet you come from. I don't think all O negatives may, no, that's a lie. Your biosphere comes from somewhere else. I don't know where it does. I don't want to tell you the origin because I would be lying to you. I don't know the origin of where you guys come from. And the dark and light O negatives. Now, if you ever talk to an O negative that's a brown person, they're super duper duper smart. It's really frightening how smart they are. And when I say frightening, they're very, very smart. I don't care if they're conscious in the way that we're conscious or not. If you ever talk, and I noticed this notably with the brown, not to say the lunars with O negative aren't smart. I'm talking about the brown ones. It makes me think that the brown O negatives are the source of the others. So it makes me think that the actual blueprint comes from the brown ones because of how smart they are. And again, I can't tell you where they're from origin wise. I don't know what they're not from here. None of us O's generally are from here. A's are the oldest, so they've been here longer in this biosphere. But O's were not from here, but I don't know where the O negatives are from. But when you talk to a brown negative, you're going to know what I'm talking about. Talk to a brown negative and talk to a lunar O negative. You're going to see what I'm talking about. They have access to data. They're really smart. Like, you know that they're getting their information from somewhere else. And it's their sourcing from all the other negatives. That's why I said they're really smart. And it's just an ability that comes with them. I don't think it's negative or positive. I'm not judging it. I'm just saying that's what they have access to. So I just note that. Okay. So let's talk about, hold on. Now you can always fact check me, y'all. Okay. You can always fact check me. Always, because remember, I don't need you to cheerlead me. You can always definitely fact check me and look this up yourself, okay? So it's important for you to know that I'm mentally ill, according to YouTube standards, okay? And hold on. And you know, it's important for you to do your own research as well. I just share things that I know from my own point of view, and I always respect your opinions because I don't know everything, okay? I learn things every day, okay? Blood types matter. Okay, so let's go down the line of the blood types and the species, because again, in itself, we have a war going on, and they're attacking O positives openly. Everything is being weaponized towards the darker skin O positives, but my lunar O positives, you're getting it because you part of us. You my cousin, you my kin, O positive lunar. So my light skin O positives, you in the same neck of the woods as us. Okay, so you might as well say you're a brownie. Okay, you one of us. Okay, you just a lighter skin version. Okay, your versions aren't going to be maybe as strong because your lighter skin, there are some things alchemically that may not affect you if they're sending weaponized bioweaponry towards the darker skin O positives. But remember, all the Mexican groups, the strongest, all up in Mexico, that's all O positive. The majority of Mexicanos and those who come from South America. If you notice, us Carib that are from South America, we all have O positive. They come in for us. Remember, we're the most regenerative out of all blood types, even O negative. We live the longest and we're the most regenerative. We generally have a longer lifespan to give birth to children, more than the other blood types. They're gunning for us. I've noticed it with all the foods and the type of things they're putting in the foods that are directly trying to attack O positive specifically. So for our family who's O positive, I'll talk about it first. I'm going to share some information about B's and A's. I didn't leave you out. I promise you. Okay. So it's important for me to share these things with you. And what you'll notice is like, people are like, what does blood types matter? You know, it matters. You don't realize it. The people that you're most connected to is your blood type. You don't even know it. Like I told you, I was in a dance. I danced all the time. So I would go to this dance class, right? So much fun. It was in Florida. So we had other dancers and, like really professional. I'm a dancer. I dance every type, especially all Latin dances. I'm thebomb.com. I could dance, okay? I'm a Caribbean woman. I could dance every genre. That's me. The beat is in me. You know how Michael Jackson said the beat is in my heart. The drum is how I roll. I'm connected to the drum beat. I'm a jungle chick, okay? So I would go to this dance class, right? And always like we'd all meet up. And there was like this group of girls that would always meet up. Lunar women. I think there was one brown woman too. She was a anesthesiologist. And they would all meet up all the time. Then one day we were all standing out in the hallway and they were talking. And I'm always sitting there, I say hi to everybody. And they were talking. And one of the girls said, oh my God, you're an O negative too? Oh my God, are you O negative? She was like, how is it possible that we're all O negatives? So I just laughed because, I know genetics. I just, I smirked over there. I was like, oh, okay. They're attracted to one another. They have a connection to one another because they share blood types. Blood types, you have an affinity for those who come from your same background. It was so cute though, because they didn't know. And it was just, I think one just talked about going to get her blood test taken and how they wanted her to donate her blood. And the other ones were just like talking about, and even the brown one was the O negative. That's why I tell you, you got to be careful with just complexionism, because complexionism happens, but it didn't matter that they were different complexions. Like one was brown, the other ones were lunar, but they all connected because they all shared the same blood type. Okay. And you do it all the time. You don't even realize the pheromones of the men that you're attracted to are always connected to your blood lineage that matches you. Like whenever I smell an O positive man, I want to eat him up. Like, especially if he's healthy. A healthy O negative man can walk by me if he's handsome. I'm just saying, I feel connected to him. And it's knowing my blood type and knowing that's where we come from. I always knew that my attraction, my affinity for men would always be based on blood types. The smell, his pheromones will always attract his proper mate and vice versa. The only difference now is that you have Willy Wonka and his League of Doom messing with the pheromones in perfumes and deodorants, and you're attracted to people who are bees and insects and reptiles. You wouldn't be attracted to them. They're putting it in the perfume. So you have like a whole reptilian shapeshifter. He's wearing this cologne that has humanoid type of pheromones and hyperpheromones so that you overlook his species. And then you mate with him and wonder why you're nauseous when you're pregnant. You wonder why you're throwing up every time he kisses you, or you're getting rashes. You wonder why you're getting yeast infections every time he ejaculates inside of you. It's because he is adverse to you. And you've been tricked and prodded and disillusioned to thinking that this is a person. Oh, is it cracking, y'all? Okay, let me take this out. Should I take it out? Is it really funky, Jay? Should I take this out? I just used it for the first time. Oh, my butt. my butt. Okay, just let me know. If I'm moving it too much, let me know, okay? Oh. I'm wearing these overalls for the first time. Oh. Okay. Oh, I'm so real. I keep it so real on here. Okay. So let me keep going. So what happens a lot of times is you're really attracted to really your type, your species. And what would be the reason that they would want you not to want to mate properly is because if you notice, the children are becoming alchemically imbalanced. I don't know. I don't only think autism happened just from let me say this. I shift my buck cheeks. You guys are so funny. I don't think it's only from the shots. Let me say that, okay? I don't think it's only from the shots. I think you're alchemically mixing with people that aren't right for you to mix with and have children with. And I think what's happening is when you mate with adverse species and blood types, you're gonna get these weird kind of weird types of aversions in your DNA structure, your structure. You know what I mean? Like you'll get like cranial structure that's not harmonic, or you'll get the way your heart valve is developed is not as strong because it doesn't have as much DNA resonance that matches. So you get these weird kind of anomalies in children, okay? And it's important for you to realize that even when mating, they're purposefully making us mate with reptiles, insectoids, all these non-species. Listen, we got a lot of really, and we don't even talk about the mudflood children, their offspring, the Cabbage Patch children, the orphan trained children. You mating with them, you don't have enough DNA because those beings were created in laboratories underneath the ground during the last cataclysm. And because they were in the last cataclysm and they were created under the ground, they only have about 4 or 5 generations of decent DNA to structurally make a human being. And then, you like my 90s? You know what I'm saying, DJ? You know what I'm saying, right? I got the 90s, overalls. You know what I'm saying? DJ knows what time it is. I love wearing these. I feel like I could do the kid and play. Probably break my kneecap. Anyway. Anyway, so it's important for you to realize that Willy Wonka and his League of Doom are now weaponizing all food, all water, all air, all of the different types of chemicalized, weaponized bioweaponry, all in your pharmaceutical. And it's purposefully targeting certain blood types and blood lineage. Now, you could get it too, negative Russes, because remember, they don't like all of you either. So you got A negative, B negative, AB negative. They don't like y'all. They feel like you are the rogue, because a lot of times with the negative Russes, the ones who jump ship first are A's and B negatives and AB negatives. Y'all jump ship because you know that them O negatives don't have anything good in store for you. So they will target some of your blood lineage, and that's why a lot of you get thrown under the bus. So even though you have access to some of the hive, some of the information they may be putting out in frequencies might be negative to y'all. And that's where you get remember all A's, whether it's A positive or A negative, they're very sweet people. A's are very trusting, just in nature. Just when we're talking about blood types, I'm talking about A's just overall, like A's, negatives, and positives. They're very sweet. They're usually very trusting. And those are the blood types that they will use to try to get over on certain things. So if there's an agenda going out, they're going to run it through the A's first. Because the A's won't, it's just the nature. Like, you guys are good with nature. Like, the animals love you. The birds love you. The cats, the dogs, everybody loves an A. Like, even when I'm around an A and I want to fight with an A, I can't fight with y'all. I can't. Because it's like it's unfair. Because you're so sweet. And I don't care. Like, I've had battles with A's before, like, not real battles, because you can't really battle with an A. I've had like aversions. I didn't like something they did, or they didn't like. I can't do it because you're so darn sweet. And nature loves you. And you know I love the animals. And because the animals love you, just by the nature of animals rocking with you and protecting you, it makes me want to be a party to you. That's all good. But it could also weaponize. You can also be weaponized towards others because you're too open and receptive to forms of, it's not so much the propaganda. It's like you can be used as the transference, like to make us trust others. Like an A can make me trust another that I normally wouldn't trust. Like if an A vouched for someone, it's the nature of your blood lineage, of what you come from. It makes me okay. It makes me want to trust the other ones. And that's the problem. So A's, you have to really be really strong in making sure that your thoughts And the things that come across or people say to you or television or news, that you aren't susceptible to being so coerced by, especially sad things. A's are really coerced by sad things, things that make them sad, things that make them feel vulnerable to the world. Okay? So A's, that's just, I don't think it's negative, but in this terrible world of shapeshifters, demons, walk-ins, freaking cosplayers, and all these NPCs walking around, you can hurt some of us because we trust you. So pay attention to the things around you that make you feel a certain way. If it drives your emotions, you have to check them and make sure that it's coming from a legitimate source. If something is triggering you, A's, and they know where you are, make sure you pay attention to that. Now, B's, you already know how y'all get down. B's are the smartest of all the blood types. Yeah, B's, I'm saying you're smarter than us. I'm giving you props. Take it while you can. B's, you are the scientists. You are the microscientists. You're like I would go to you to have my house built. I would go to you to get surgery. I will go and take your opinion about anything clinical wise or medical wise. You are the smartest. That's why dark ops like to put you in their programs, because your brain has the capacity to hold more information than everybody else's, and you can compartmentalize it so it doesn't overwhelm you, so you don't overload. Bees are the bomb.com, but they use you. And all these governmental programs, you're the first person that the CIA and FBI want. They know your blood type. And if you come from a good lineage of like soldiers or people who work in like federal places, like they're going to get you first, okay? Protect your bee children, though, because a lot of your Mensa programs, the programs who test children, that test your children on a scholastic level, they're going to test your bees, and they're going to try to get them into programs. I would even say that if I looked in Harvard, Brown, Duke, Yale, all of your medical colleges, all your or even colleges that are more specialized in like mathematics or sciences, I would even say that majority of them are probably bees that were proficiently recruited by those universities. Okay, very, very smart people. I'm not saying the other blood types. Remember, I'm not a bee, but I'm telling you that it's she's talking foolishness. Well, Leonard, why are you here, Leonard? Be gone. If I told you I'm a mental illness patient, you shouldn't be shocked. I told you I was mentally ill. So now that you know that, then you're foolish for even stating it, because you're dumb to be here. So you're the dummy who's listening to a dummy. So who's really dumb? I'm a dum-dum. I'm an idiot. So you're an idiot for telling me I'm an idiot. Leave. Maybe because I'm not talking about how wonderful and fabulous your blood type is. Okay. So, and again, so when we're talking about bees, it's very important for bees to realize that your brain has the capacity to hold information without you even knowing it. So your goal is probably to pay attention to your sub thoughts, the thoughts that hit your brain when you're in that beta state or that theta state, like things that kick up into your mind and you don't know where it came from. You need to pay attention to that. Okay? It's very, very important for you to do that, because you can hold so much information. That's why would dark ops programs want to contract you? Then you got to say, okay, they want to contract me, but how would I know if they did if I can't even remember it, because it's in a part of my brain that I haven't had access to, and I need a code to unlock it. Okay? So pay attention to that, because remember, all these mind control programming, all the television and social media. Now we're going to go into the NPCs, the empty seaters, the Cabbage Patch Children, and the cosplayers that are all online setting everybody up. Oh, thank you, Yafi. That's setting everybody up. We have, did I go into all the blood types? Did I hit everybody yet? So B's and ABs. Okay, let me touch ABs. And many of you heard this already. I don't want to go too deep, because many of you have known me over the years. You know I talk about like all the blood types. ABs, they are so neutral. ABs are like the perfect equilibrium between the A's and B's. They are got that sweet and sour. You know, like sweet and sour sauce. That's an AB. If ever you get in a beef and you got a fight and you got beef with somebody in the office, always have ABs in your office. They are wonderful neutralizers. They are fair and balanced in that way. Every time I try to have a beef, now I haven't ever, gratefully, ever had beef with AB. Even when AB thinks I'm being egregious, because, you know, a lot of you do. You think I'm over the top. Sometimes, you know, if my breasts are out or I'm doing too much, ABs have a tendency to just see past that. They see what's balanced about me or in the midst of things. They're the balancers. Now, Japan, I give a big up to Japan because Japan has really mastered the art of utilizing blood types to hire people and to match with people as far as mating. They won't. They know that O's are strong leaders, and if they want a good leader in their group, they know to hire O's. Whenever they need someone who is really good in mathematics, science, or very finite things that require more critical or more specific type of studies or whatever their field is, they know to hire B's. A's they know are great at really doing things with nature or art or things like that. So they really have mastered. You can look into this. It's actually quite fascinating how the Japanese have broken it down. Okay, you should you should take a look at how they kind of set up their whole system and how it works for them. They aren't getting children that are non-cohesive because they know that blood types matter, and hiring people with the level of mastery that is inside of their Akashic records, like having someone work at their job who has specific skill set that their ancestors did really well at, it only makes their society more advanced and more cohesive. So you should check out the Japanese. They really mastered that. I really have an appreciation for them really taking that in consideration and really making their society based on blood types, because species and blood types matter. Okay. All right, so let me talk about the Cabbage Patch children. Now, let me explain this, y'all. People always talk about cloning. Remember, I was kicked off 50 million times on YouTube for even mentioning cloning? Remember? Back when they didn't even want you mentioning the word clone, and then you were just like, everything was weaponized against you? Well, this is something, and I would really challenge, because it's what I know. And I think I'm pretty proficient in this, but I'm always open to hearing from our other researchers, those who work in genetics and heredity and who have more proficiency even than myself. So I'm open to this. It's amazing to me that you can go online all over and they will tell you that O negatives cannot be cloned. Now, what makes this really hilarious is because if I go to a museum and I have an original, right? I have an original Mona Lisa, right? Beautiful. I don't think Mona Lisa is beautiful, but just for conversation, I have Mona Lisa, right? And I have that beautiful artwork, the original. Whenever I make a copy of that, it changes the charge of it, so to speak. So by the nature of negative being because remember, who named it negative and who named it positive? A negative charge lets me know that it has already come from something replicated. Okay? It's been cloned. You cannot clone a positive roost without it changing into something negative. Okay? So if you clone a positive roost, it's going to automatically change into something negative. Okay? Are all O negatives clones? No. But clones are all O negative. Listen to what I said. Please do not get personalized and gaslit. Listen to exactly what I said. Can you clone it? Are all clones negative? No. But by the nature of it being, wait. By the nature of it being replicated, it automatically will be negative. Okay? So not every negative is cloned, but all clones will be negative roosts. I'm sorry. It takes me a minute to think about it in my head. Okay? Okay. Mina, you're out of here. Listen, they've got the NPCs here. They got all the NPCs coming in, y'all. The clones are coming in here right now because I mentioned them. The clones are coming in. The clones are coming in the live. The clones are coming. Hold on. Hey. Okay. That's why all of your political representatives are all O negative. You don't think that's weird? If you want to, I'm just saying, do you think that's weird? Why is it a point that you can have every country, every political system, every position of power? How come their preference is all O negatives? Do you ask yourself that question? So if I'm lying, you got to ask yourself why. Okay? Now, in terms of the Cabbage Patch children, the mud flood children, the orphan trains, they only had 4 to 5 generations of decent DNA to be able to replicate themselves. Okay? Whenever you have something that is a anomaly of some sort that's created in a laboratory, it doesn't have a lot of dexterity, like strength in its DNA, its chromosomal makeup. Okay? It doesn't. That's why you might be getting all these weird kind of things happening now, because they're at the end of their reproduction cycle. That's probably why they can't give birth to babies anymore. If you notice, like they'll say, oh, it's the food. What? I'm sure they're adding it to it, but do they talk about the fact that a lot of these so-called hybrids that they created in a laboratory in a cabbage, or the orphan trains that they put in all those emptied out cities after the last cataclysm and pole shift, these beings only had a certain period of time that they could replicate themselves before they would become a dud, genetically. So when you see the population become less pliable or regenerative, I personally think it's because they are the offspring of the mud flood people. And they don't have a long regenerative, they only last for the next cycle, and then they die off. Why do you think they're moving all these other people from all these other countries to move them in to kind of build up the numbers over the United States? Because they don't have as many of them anymore. They can't create children. There's a genetic abnormality that happens when you replicate something. A copy cannot make a proper copy. When you make copies of things, the dexterity, the DNA is not as strong. Okay? Heirlooms, people who have strong DNA that are made naturally, were making love on a mountain, in the rainforest, on the deck, in a bed. You know what I mean? Those people have stronger DNA. And if they've been mating properly and they knew their blood types and they were only having children with the strongest, best, and highest quality DNA mates, they wouldn't have to worry about having children, because they'll be able to have children until the end of the cycle. But, that's if they're not taking Kukarachi kill shots every 5 seconds, or eating a genetically homogenized food that's killing off their testosterone and their estrogen. They're not putting perms and fake hair, plastic hair on their head, ruining their magnetic field. Okay. Scarlett, now really, Scarlett, do you really come in here and ask if I like Palestine? I love anywhere where people are happy and healthy. Okay? It's not even a conversation we're having. I do not agree what's going on in Palestine. I do not agree with it. It is absolutely horrific. And we already know that the Dark Kabbalists are in charge of that. We know that these demons are over there clearing the land so they can access the dam. What is it? The water? The canal? We know what these bastards are doing. I talk about it. Do you see me drinking Starbucks? That's how you know how I feel. Okay? That's all. So just know that. I don't support anywhere where they hurt anybody's children. None. None. If you see, they did it to the natives here. I mean, I don't know why you guys think that these are all demons. And why you ask me if I like do you like the United States? Because the United States is leading what's happening over there in Palestine. You know that, right? Israel is just a participant in what the United States is heading. Okay? United States is a bunch of demons. Okay? They're doing a whole bunch of dirt. They're nasty bastards. Right? So all these Zionists and all these crazy people, they're mentally ill, and a lot of them are hybrids. They're hybrids. Okay? Oh, hold on. I've got company. Hold on. Yes? Okay. Yeah, there are a whole bunch of hybrids. I don't even know if those beings are real. Anybody who could shoot a child in the head while the mother's running with them, those are not humans. Okay? Those are bioborgs. I don't even know if those are like Borgs over there shooting those children. Okay? And I don't know what's going on, but I just know that it's not new, and they've been doing it for a long time. They're doing it in the Congo. They're doing it in Palestine. They're doing it in the United Fakes, because you know they all over here right now. They're doing it, they did it in Sudan. They're still doing it in Sudan. Where else are they killing off people? Who else are they killing off? They're killing off everybody on this planet, y'all. What they're doing in Palestine is what they did over here in the United Fakes. It's disgusting. And you know why they're doing it? Because they want, there's probably a portal over there. We don't even know. There might be a Stargate. I never even looked into Palestine, ancient Palestine. There's probably a Stargate over there. We don't know. There's a lot of things going on that we can't see. We can only see from the angle of what's taught to us on television, okay? So don't bring up all these things. I don't like anywhere that hurts anybody, okay? And I won't support any country, any person, including the one I'm living in, that is hurting children. And y'all are talking about it's Israel. Do you know who's heading Israel? It's United Fakes. You know the people who like to dig tunnels over in Brooklyn? Okay? Those people. Okay. So, none of them are human. So I don't really get involved in that. Because that's a whole conversation on, if we're going to talk about Palestine, why don't you bring up the Congo? Why don't you bring up Haiti? Why don't you bring up Sudan? Why don't you bring up what happened over in the middle of Africa? You don't bring up that, right? Okay? Roadblocks, what's going on? Okay? What's going on, Roblox? If you tell me to shut up, I'll curse you and your entire family. Don't come in here and be disrespectful, because when you say things like that, I don't know who you're talking to. Are you talking to me? Or are you talking to somebody else? I'm just letting you know, I give you the warning, because remember, you coming on this feed and you don't know who's on here and you don't know where I come from. If you say things like that, don't get shocked that you have issues. Watch your mouth, okay? I don't know if it was me you were talking to, okay? Okay. If it wasn't, you know, I'll keep it going. Don't hate, appreciate. You reported him, Terry? I don't know. Listen, the bots will come. These are NPCs, y'all. They coming. I put in all the spark words. All the spark words are coming in, y'all. Once you mention all the crazy words, they all start coming in. Anyway, so let's talk about the mud flood children and their offspring. Their offspring are the type of people, listen, you like my outfit. Thank you, Tanya. I'm going back, like, I'm going to do my kid and play. I'm going to go play some 90s music and make me feel good again, okay? When we talk about the mud flood children, you have to understand that these are beings that don't have any consciousness. They are genetically homogenized. They're created in a laboratory under the ground. They haven't any sort of good feeling. They don't feel well about people. They don't have compassion for others. They usually are highly programmed. In their cellular DNA, they're programmed with all of the things. Like, you know when people want to get a certain car? The mud flood people want to get it. If someone is a style, like, I don't know, like, you know, I don't know if there's like another style or trends coming up. All the mud flood people, their offspring, they all are, they're like in their DNA, they're capped. So they uphold all the agendas. Any agenda that there is, that's how you could tell they come from mud flood people. They just uphold all the agendas. Whatever the agenda is, oh, we're going to drive Mercedes that are blue today. All of them will drive a blue Mercedes. They're very mind controllable, okay? They don't have compassion. They don't care about what's going on in Palestine. They don't care about what's going on in Congo. They don't care what's happening if your father was hurt or sick because the Cucaracha kill shot. They don't care. But they'll pretend like they care because they know that if you know that they're lacking empathy and sympathy and they haven't any emotional, they're driven by non-emotions, they'll know that you're onto them. So they'll pretend like they do. So you got to look in their eyes. The eyes are the keys to the soul, you know, the key to the soul. Okay? You got to be careful with the mud flood people. You can't trust them. You know how they used to say, can't trust a big butt and a smile, that girl is poison. No, you can't trust the mud flood offspring. Those are the ones who used to have church service and used to have picnics. where they used to hang brown people with their children and have sandwiches at church, while they would send pamphlets out, and they would hang brown pregnant women while the baby would drop out of the woman's stomach and burn them alive. These are mud flood people, okay? They don't have any compassion. Those are the ones that used to throw little Negro babies into the bayou to catch alligators, to make alligator shoots. Those are mud flood offspring. I want their last names. I've been trying to get all their last names for the longest time. Some of you men, you mating with them and creating children with them and wondering why your children hate themselves. You have children with mud flood people's offspring. That's your fault. And don't come to me and be like, oh, my children are possessed. They're like growling in the middle of the night, climbing up the walls because you slept with a mud flood, a mother freaker. You created an offspring that's some sort of demon. They got all kinds of demonic possession things attached to them. You got her yoni is biting you. You got itches on your balls. Your balls don't work anymore. That's because you're sleeping with the mud flood women. You're so ignorant and so easily coerced by someone's status that you don't even care that you're mating with these demons. That's why I say you mate with these demonic blood lineages. You deserve whatever you get. All these hybrid children walking around saying they hate themselves, they're cutting people, running in malls, robbing people, because you're sleeping with demons. You're sleeping with them reptiles, those nasty mud flood offspring. They don't have any consciousness. Their children are savages. They're cutting people, shooting people in the street. They got a whole bunch of them in Brazil. Brazil is a hot spot for mud flood, like offspring, like all those children up that just go around shooting people and so. Those are mud flood offspring. Okay, they dumped them all in Brazil. That's why they don't have any conscience. Brazil is beautiful, the most beautiful people. I love them, but they know it's true too. You got some savages over in Brazil, and I personally think, if I had to think about it, those are mud flood offspring. Okay. They just lack consciousness. And then everybody wants to mimic them. You know what I mean? Don't mess with the mud flood. You keep having children with them. Don't come to me or any of the other doctors to help you. You can't help the cellular depreciation. You can't help them. They're climbing. They got possession. You know, her eyes are shape-shifting while you're having sex with her. What's wrong with you? Her eyes are shifting because you getting your rocks off, it's okay, and then your wand's not working anymore. You'd be like, oh, I don't know what happened. Oh, well, because you slept with the goddamn Cabbage Patch offsprings lineage. The children are being born growling out the womb. What's wrong with you? You can't get help for that. Anyway, I'm just saying, when you have children like Dahmer and all that stuff, those are mud flood children. Dahmer coming, he was born cutting up cats, trying to see the organs. You look into their eyes, they're in those mosh pits, banging their heads against the wall. They want to tattoo their faces. Those are all like some sort of hybrid, like non-emotional hybrids. They don't even feel pain. They like to cut themselves all the time. They want to jump off of planes. They don't have a feeling. Stop messing with those mud flood people. Okay, because they don't care about you, and those are the type of people that will hurt you and your offspring. They'll give you offspring that are dark. You want to have happy babies. You want to have babies that giggle when they're born. You want to have babies that are loving and compassionate. You want to have babies that love themselves, that wouldn't take in garbage in their bodies. You sleeping with these demons. Don't come to anybody for help because you have a demonic fetish. You like men and women that are dark. Okay. Yeah, like Blueface and Christian Rock. Those are she's got a mugshot on her face as a tattoo. Who told you to desecrate your body? Like, just the fact that you would even do that lets me know that you're not real. And NPCs is like a program. NPCs could show up as anything. So you got to be careful too, because there's biological organisms that we're interfacing with that are just off, because alchemically and biologically they're not malleable to a healthy system. So they're highly, highly reactive to frequencies. So they're always reacting to like music or if they turn up the 5G frequencies, they react to it negatively. They become like animals. But NPCs is something different. Those are programs. Those are programs inside of the simulation. They're not real. When you walk out of the room, they disappear. They're part of the holographic system. So those are beings that just, they're going to uphold whatever the AI system projects for them to do. So maybe they're, when you talk to them too, because they loop a lot. NPCs are loopers. You have a conversation yesterday with them. Hey, how you doing? Oh, your mom, da, da, da. You go back the next day, it's the same conversation. Remember when you were like, remember when you went and watched Jumanji? Like Jumanji with The Rock and Kevin Hart, and they jumped into the Jumanji game, and like they change into all these different characters, like their bodies change. But then when they got there, they would meet these NPCs, and like the NPC would just greet them. It would be a greeter. Welcome to Jumanji. Da 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 da. And then it would ask, "Hey man, how do we get through this? How do we do all this?" And then all of a sudden it would be like, "Welcome to Jumanji." Da 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 da. Because it is just looping. It's a loop. So they don't have any true consciousness. They're not sentient. They're just basically programmed people. And just be careful, because a lot of, it's like Westworld, a lot of people after Cucarachis, when they transcended, a lot of people were replaced with NPCs, and you don't know it, or robotoids. So you have people walking around who you think are family members, and you don't realize the real family member probably died, and there was a replication that happened like Westworld, and they were replaced. So now you're talking to your family member, you're like, why do you seem so different? Like you never used to eat chicken. I thought you were allergic to mushrooms. Like, oh, I got over it. Oh, really? And all of the updates that happen in this simulation. You have all the updates where things are changing. Like I talked about the Mandela effect just being updates in the simulation. So, I found this out, like, what was it, last year? That whenever we have a Mandela effect, like something changes, a slight difference in spelling and so on, that's an update in the simulation, like a video game, like an update. So it updates and then it changes something small, alters it. Okay? So you have these beings walking around. You got to be careful, because, and people are like, oh, you're mentally ill. Yes, I am mentally ill, living in a simulated world with psychopaths and sociopaths. I don't know who could be sane living in here. You got a whole cosplaying man-woman online doing spells on me because she's mad I'm a real woman and I don't have to wear fake hair and makeup and purse my lips and talk and try to convince people how to mistreat sexes. She did a whole spell on me, and she didn't think I know, but I know what you did, you dastardly charade. I know what you did. You're going to get it back too. The gift keeps on giving. You want to give a gift to me and my family? Well, I will extend the gift to you and yours. You didn't think I was real, right? Okay. Anyway, be careful with the cosplayers too, because those are characters. That's why people are saying that they're men and women. I told you I'm a trans everything. I'm a trans frog, snake, panda, bird. I'm a lunar, a Hasidic, Orthodoxy Jewish man, and a deranged black man. How could I be that? Because we're living in a world where people can pretend to be something that they're not. We're living in a cosplay world. You've got all these characters online telling, oh, I'm a whistleblower. I've got 500,000 subscribers, and knowing that usually